We'll have our capital improvements update provided to us this evening by Mr. Will Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. You've got the full report and some other documents in your board docs. So I want to briefly go over some of the highlights from the last time that provided this report to you publicly. Blythewood High School, it was basically complete, finishing a few things there with the punch list items and working on the traffic flow to ensure we continue to have great traffic in and out of the school, or not great traffic, to improve the traffic in and out of the school and make sure we get kids, families, and students and staff in there safely. Condor and Keels, we are currently finalizing the budgets, finalizing the construction documents. We are currently over budget at Condor and Keels Elementary School with the renovations. We met last week with the construction team and with the design team, looking at ways to look at the cost. We are scheduled to start construction in May, but right now I just wanted to keep you up to date on where we are with that. And it'll be an 18-month project when we start in May. The Richland Northeast High renovations began in December. We're currently working primarily on the auditorium renovations. So if you've been by Richland Northeast, you've seen that happening right now. Demolition is pretty much done, and continuing that. That's another about 18-month project there. We will be going over our guaranteed maximum price agreement for the Performing Arts Center. It's probably going to be next week into February now. Still working on pricing, and I'll talk a little bit more about pricing shortly. But so we're still scheduled to begin that construction here on the campus of RTY2 in March. Just some images of the ongoing construction in our three big major rebuilds right now. Bethel-Hanbury is doing great, as I've mentioned for a lot of these discussions. The site has been very kind at Bethel as opposed to Forest Lake and E.O. Wright's. Nice, flat, sandy soil is much better with all the rain and things we've had. But you can see the progress there with some of those photos, some of the interiors, and just really coming along nicely. Super excited about opening that school. We will be demolishing the arts building and one of the portables at Bethel during spring break. That will allow us to get more done in front of the school for the parking and drives. That gives us enough time to really have all that complete by the time we start back school in August. E.L. Wright and the Center for Knowledge. Again, we're on schedule for a summer opening, July, of the E.L. Wright. We will then transition to working on Center for Knowledge. It'll be a very busy summer at E.L. Wright, very busy summer at Bethel-Hanbury, but a lot of demo work to then make sure we got the drives good for August. And then we're working with the schools, the Center for Knowledge, to ensure we have a safe way to get kids in and out of school come August, but really making good progress. And again, you can see some of those interior images coming along as we've shown you guys in the past, some of those other images of the renderings. Forest Lake, again, some similar as E.O. Wright and Bethel, making progress. Forest Lake, as I mentioned before, is a block construction as opposed to a steel construction. So while it may look a little bit different in terms of the speed, in terms of how it looks going, it's actually on a similar pace as E.O. Wright. You can see in that bottom photo how much of the roof is on, and then that big photo on the left with the brickwork being complete and going on. So again, that's another finish in July into August. We will basically not have any activities this summer at any of the current schools at E.O. Wright, Forest Lake, and Bethel-Hanbury to ensure we have all the things we need to accomplish during the summer to get those up and running. Currently still on schedule with our budgets and with our timeline, and so looking forward to continue working with Dr. Molly and Ms. Shelley Allen to make sure we stay within our budgets there. As mentioned in a previous board meeting, phase 2 of our bond referendum is about to start. We set on an RFP for architectural firms. They were to respond by December. We have met, and 13 firms submitted an application or submitted an RFP. We will be doing interviews for a short list of those firms actually tomorrow and Thursday, and then we hope to come back, make that selection, come back to at your next meeting or a future meeting for those firms that have been selected, and then we'll start working on the contract negotiations to get them started, design work in end of February, 1st of March. We've been worked with all our departments and schools and got the capital improvement needs list that we do yearly, the old 8%. that some of you have been here a while remember. And so we are working with that and with our finance department and internally what our needs are, prioritizing those needs across the district and ensuring that we continue to provide those premier, safe learning environments for our students. And Mr. Simon, who spoke earlier, is working with our team that's demography study. So that study is underway with data collection. That demography study will help us inform us on what we need to do with our next 10-year facility plan, new growth, all that good stuff that's happening in our district. And so we're looking forward to having that complete in the next few months. Just want to emphasize, as I've spoken to people earlier today and spoken to many of you all, if you live anywhere, you know how much cost increase. Just go to the grocery store, go anywhere. It's really crazy right now. We are working diligently with our team to make sure that we really control those costs as much as we possibly can, looking at alternative ways that we can see what's going to can keep those costs, but keep those costs down, but really not affect what we're trying to do for the schools. We really want to provide those premier, safe, and secure learning environments, and not scale back so much that we're just. This is something some of these schools once in a lifetime thing, and so we want to make sure, like the Performing Arts Center, we want to do it right. But we also want to be very conscientious of the budget. So we're working strategically to see how we can make sure we do that. I don't know what the future holds. I don't think any economist really knows. Dr. Miley may know. He's pretty smart. But I don't, so I can't tell you what the prices are going to look like anytime soon, but we monitor and look at those all the time with our construction partners. So we're hoping that we can see at least some steadiness so we have an idea of where to move forward. Labor is getting a little tighter. We saw in the 1st of January the Omicron surge hit our labor market, but it's kind of settled down now. So labor is still stronger now, but it is an issue. And right now, with all these things going on, we still are on timeline. All of our timelines are still good. So excited that there's no change in that. As always, Ms. Roof and her department do a great job of keeping our community abreast and keeping everything on the website, so we thank that. And with that, Dr. Davis or myself are happy to answer any questions that you may have.